Well, let's quickly move on now to our top story. The opposition has boycotted Parliament, walking out of the Lok Sabha hours after a similar move in the Rajya Sabha. Let's go across now to Sachin Pilot, the senior Congress leader who joins us. Sachin, is there any question of any apology at all, or is this going to be a stalemate because the government doesn't seem ready to back down on this?
Let's make a distinction first, Som. There is a government and then there's Parliament. So in Parliament, whether it's the Speaker or the Deputy Chairman, they are the people who decide procedures. There is a well laid out rule book for Parliament, how it should function. Now, never before has it happened that an important bill comes up for voting and opposition or even one MP demands a division, the people have to cast their vote. It is completely overruled. And the kind of attitude that the ruling party and the Treasury benches had adopted in the upper house is absolutely exceptional. It has never happened before. The demand was A, to send the bill to a select committee. Second was to have a division. I mean, it is a democratic right. It is the constitutional privilege of a member of parliament to ask for a division of votes. In our 70 years, it has never happened that the chair overrules and then does not even give a hearing to the opposition parties. Now, the happenings in the parliament are for the chairman and the speaker to decide. My simple submission to everybody who's watching your program is that these are important, crucial legislation. Why was it made an ordinance and not a bill in the parliament in the first place? What was the urgency? Second, if 18 parties and the entire opposition is asking for something, and if you are not able to convince your own cabinet minister, at least have the dignity of a discussion and a debate on such an important legislation. The kinds of action and the sort of strong arm tactics you've seen in parliament does not behove of a thriving democracy like ours.
So therefore, Sachin, what is the way forward? Because I mean, what you're saying reflects very much what the opposition is saying. The BJP says, in fact, Ravi Shankar Prasad said, and I understand the point that you're saying that, look, rules of procedure are decided by somebody else. But here's Ravi Shankar Prasad who says that, look, let them apologize first. You've said that there's no, I mean, the other opposition leaders have said there's no question of doing that. You've appealed to the president as well. There is no indicator of where that's necessarily going to go. There were bills which came up in the Rajya Sabha today. There was virtually no opposition present. So this isn't democracy at all in this situation. What is the road forward as far as this is concerned?
It's for the government to decide. I mean, we made our points very clear. You may, if you have majority in the upper house, where was the, the worry of not having the bills voted for? Second of all, the decision and the attitude, I think, of the ruling dispensation is quite undemocratic. You are not letting the opposition speak. You're not letting them ask for a division of votes. You're not listening to their debates, their discussions. You make an ordinance, you just bulldoze it through, and then you pull it through parliament, you impose what you think is right. That's not how democracies function.
But democracies also, Sachin, don't function on the basis of the near violence. Call it what you like. We saw in the Rajya Sabha some MPs going up to the chair. They were aggressive. I mean, I think that's the mildest word that you can use, irrespective of whether or not rule books were actually torn up. It was an aggressive gesture. He was hounded over there. There were guards who came out. Surely that needs to be condemned as well.
I think, Shom, what you're doing is you're looking at the optics, which are the visuals, but you must understand what went on, what transpired there.
No, but why don't you condemn this part as well?
If you violate the right of a member of parliament and you do it blatantly and openly and you do it time and again, I mean, I condemn any violence, whether it's inside parliament or outside or whatever word you used. But the simple point is that if the members of parliament are not allowed to discharge the responsibility, their constitutional rights are trampled upon, what choice do you have? I mean, you are sent there by a political party. You have a role to play. If the chair doesn't listen to you, I agree with you. I think, confrontation and sort of the words that you used are absolutely not appropriate in any democracy. But look at where we are. The backs are to the wall. All they said that day was that if you want to have this bill, you please have a vote. Now, how undemocratic is it to ask for a vote? If you deny that right, what does a member of parliament
do? And that really is the crux of the issue, because there were a couple of demands which were made. One was standing committee, that was rejected. The other one was, of course, there needs to be a division. You made a point a few moments earlier. You said that if they had the numbers, then why didn't they allow division to take place? Is it your submission that the government didn't have the numbers on that day?
It doesn't take that much to figure it out. I mean, if they had comfortable numbers, why would any government shy away from voting? It would have made their stand much stronger had the upper house voted in their favor. I think because of certain parties showing clear dissent against the bill, because you see, it's not about the party protesting, it's the farmers, organization, non-consultative process, no stakeholdership discussions, no state governments involved. You just ram through a bill which you claim is going to be beneficial. Explain to the people of India how it's going to benefit. There are no MSP clauses in the new amended bill. How does a farmer with a 2-acre holding have the wherewithal to negotiate with a global giant? If you let market forces decide our farmers' future, I'm afraid it's not going to work very well.
Sachin,
you have to protect.
Let's just take a look point, since you are talking about the farmer issue.
In Parliament, you may have majority, but that does not mean that the opposition does not have the right to ask for a discussion.
Sure, and I take that point. But you raise the issue of the farmers. We've been largely speaking about parliamentary propriety, but as far as the bill is concerned, the government says the bills make it easier for farmers to sell their produce directly to big farmers. It reforms an outdated system, removes middlemen from the equation, makes it one nation, one farmer. It allows farmers to sell to institutional buyers and large retailers, in the process earning more money. I mean, that's the premise. I take your point about MSP, but will none of this actually work on the ground?
I'm saying it sounds great, but where is the security net? Why is there no mention of the MSP for outside procurement? If the government pulls its hand out of the procurement process, our PDS system, our food security system will all collapse.
So the statements of the Prime Minister aren't enough? He's tweeted it out.
If the statements
saying
are sacrosanct,
that there will be MSP?
No, I am saying the statements are sacrosanct. Why is in the bill? You see, this government may go after a few years. What happens then? Why is the MSP not included in the amended bill? Why don't you have people procuring from the farmers, as you claim, as the government claims, at a higher price? Then say it. You have to have some insurance for the farming community. If a 2-acre farmer can't negotiate with a big trader or big buyer in Bombay or Delhi or Nasik, how does he have the wherewithal to take them to court, to have legal consequences, to really take on such a large? It's not a buyer-seller market then. It's basically a buyer's market after a few years. I think those apprehensions have to be cleared up, and that's why we said discuss this, send it to select committee, and perhaps a more nuanced bill could be brought forward. But this ramming it through Parliament, I think, doesn't argue very well for our democracy.
Okay. Sachin Pilot, thank you very much for joining us.